Want to know the biggest indicator for me that a relationship is over? Now, I am one of those people who I'm going to put my blood, sweat, and tears into a relationship because I look at it like this. I don't just get into relationships with just anybody, and I don't typically get into relationships very quickly. I want to get to know the person. I want to get to know them through different seasons, them to get to know me. I want to know about, their background and how they grew up. I want to know everything that I could possibly know before I agree to a committed relationship. So when I get into one, I feel like I've already done my due diligence. I've gotten to know enough about you to feel like you're a solid individual. So I'm going to give it my all. But the biggest indicator for me, now this is outside of somebody cheating, of course, or something drastic like that. The biggest indicator for me that a relationship is over is when the other person or myself decides to stop trying. And if I've already said that I'm going to give it my all, the relationship for me is essentially over when you let me know that you're no longer going to try, you're no longer going to put in an effort. I remember in one of my past relationships, we had actually even gotten to the point of living together. And I remember we were just in a rough spot. I mean, it just seemed like we argued over everything. We couldn't agree on anything. There was always just either a disagreement or we just couldn't seem to get on the same page about major things that we wanted to do in the future. I remember asking him, would you be willing to go to couples counseling? And he shut it down immediately. Not interested, not even in the slightest bit. And I remember, because I had somewhat of a, solid relationship with his mom, I remember sitting down and having a conversation with her and just trying to see if maybe she could talk him into going to couples therapy. And she pretty much shut me down as well and told me, therapy isn't for everybody. That's not how everybody decides to work out their differences. And I said, well, that's fine if he's not willing to go to therapy. What's your solution then? What are we going to try? If we're not going to try therapy, what is your suggestion? What is your recommendation that we do? Well, his recommendation is to keep doing what we've been doing, which on his end was nothing. And so that's how I knew that the relationship was over. The relationship for me is over when we are both no longer walking in the same direction, and we are no longer both working towards the same mission. And that is to have a harmonious, healthy, balanced relationship. And if you want to be miserable and you want to be arguing every day and you don't want to get on the same page, you are going to be by yourself. So that's what happened. I ended the relationship.